At the top business news stories, I'm joined by our business editor, Kate Moody. Hi there, Kate.
Hi, Tom.
Now, this weekend, the G7 leaders confirmed that they've agreed on a minimum corporate tax rate. So what happens next?
Well, the next step is to try and sell it to a bigger group of leaders. The G20 finance ministers are due to meet in about a month's time. Leaders from that group then in October. And that'll be a key test in seeing whether this 15% minimum that was agreed by the G7 can indeed garner more support from the world's 20 biggest economies, including many developing ones. Now, the plan would, in theory, include both that global minimum corporate tax rate of 15% and impose new rules requiring multinational corporations and tech giants to pay tax in any country where they have operations. The talks are still being overseen by the OECD. The 15% would represent a significant decrease for many of that group's members. The average corporate tax rate of those mostly wealthy 37 countries in the OECD is 23%. But U.S. President Joe Biden argued it would be a step in the right direction. Take a listen.
Too many corporations have been engaged in what are essentially tax havens, deciding that they would pay considerably less in other environs around the world. But this is going to make sure there's a minimum tax, and I'm going to move on this at home as well. Minimum tax for corporations to pay for the profits they make anywhere in the world.
Well, both Russia and China could represent a threat to cybersecurity in Europe and North America. That's according to a statement from NATO as it adopted a new cyber defense policy. In recent weeks, criminal groups with ties to Russia have conducted ransomware attacks on a number of high-profile targets, including a U.S. oil pipeline, meat processing firm JBS, and the Irish health system. NATO saying the allies would increase cooperation, intelligence sharing, and defenses to protect both the public and private sector from what it described as complex, destructive, and ever more frequent cyber threats. Those threats, it said, have been recently illustrated by ransomware incidents and other malicious cyber activity targeting our critical infrastructure and domestic institutions. Those risks might have a systemic effects and cause significant harm. That coming from that rather long statement that was issued by NATO earlier today. The French energy giant EDF has tried to calm concerns about a leak at a nuclear power plant, which it co-owns in southeastern China. A report by CNN said the American government was assessing warnings of an imminent radiological threat at the Taishan nuclear power plant. EDF said gas had been deliberately released as operators worked to fix a problem at the facility and that it had requested more information from its Chinese partner. Separately, EDF has confirmed that 2 of its nuclear sites in the UK could be closed before the scheduled deadline of 2030 because of potential safety issues there. It's been 10 days since Nigeria's government blocked Twitter in a row over a statement by the country's president. Many small and medium-sized firms that relied on the platform to connect with customers say their businesses are already suffering. Mario Sofas has the story.
Ogechi Egamonu was selling more than €1,000 worth of watches, shoes and handbags on Twitter every week before the site was suspended by the Nigerian government earlier this month. Now, she doesn't know how she's going to get by.
Since the ban, I have not been able to post to my customers. I've not been able to reach out to my existing customers. I've not been able to get new customers. I've not been able to put images of restocked items. I feel very, very distraught. I feel really, really disorganized.
Ogechi's just one of many entrepreneurs whose business is being affected. Analysts say that the potential loss in revenue caused by the suspension could see economic growth and development decline in Africa's most populous country, hitting young Nigerians hardest, with youth unemployment already standing at 45%. One survey estimates that just under 40 million Nigerians use Twitter, 20% of them for business advertisement and 18% to look for employment opportunities. Parliament's Joint Minority Caucus says that the suspension is costing Nigerians billions. Though speaking to France 24 last week, the government was steadfast in its condemnation of Twitter's removal of a post by President Muhammadu Buhari.
We are a sovereign nation, and we will not be sitting back and allowing any platform, however large it is in the world, to cause a war within our country, where we will be entering into discussions with Twitter. We just need to have our regulations respected.
The suspension was announced 2 days after Twitter removed Buhari's post, one that threatened to punish regional separatists and invoked memories of Nigeria's bloody civil war.
Certainly more than just a decision on social media. It really is impacting people on the ground, Tom.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to speed. Our business editor, Kate Moody, thank you so much.